Oos! Filming today out here on the Canaveral National Seashore. It's a little windy down on the beach where I intended to do my presentation. So we're up here on the walkway, on the boardwalk. A couple of weeks ago, we did a presentation on Chinto and the story of Chinto, the shipwrecked sailor. How he battled with Matsumura, eventually Matsumura becoming a student and training under Chinto. Now Chinto was also known as Anan. Matsumura passed down Chinto's training. He was so impressed with Chinto and the technique, he eventually went to train in China, bringing back all that he learned there to Okinawa. From there, the story goes on. Matsumura was a bodyguard for King Sho. Now the Sho family descends down to today through the Kukaba family, which is Okinawan pronunciation. The Japanese pronunciation is Kuniba. The Kuniba family is very special in Okinawa, with Kukaba River, Kukaba building, and streets named after them. So Matsumura passed down the system of we know today as Basai. Now Matsumura Basai is just one of the Basais that are studied through different Ruha today. So we have Basai Dai, which is altered slightly and given the name Basai by Gichin Funakoshi. Funakoshi, when he went to Japan, he needed a name for Basai, or for the kata, and so he named it Basai, which we know today as to penetrate a fortress, or penetrating a fortress. And then there is Basai Sho. Now I had heard many years ago that Basai Dai represented breaching the fortress and Basai Sho was getting back out. But then we have the version of Matsumura Basai. They're all very similar. Tomori Basai, another version that is practiced in the Tomori area, in the Shurei school. All of them start with the joint hands block or double block. And Basai Dai will go over first, the opening move. We're going to move straight forward as we do the block. Now we don't want to turn sideways and block. We want to stay with the hips forward. Kosudachi, your hook stance, the block. From here, it's going to step straight back with your middle block, Zenkuchidachi, Han Zenkuchidachi. As you turn, Shidan Soto, middle outside, in Zenkuchidachi, middle block. Now all the Basais have a similar technique during the middle of the kata. Basai Dai, Giramrai. Basai Sho, Shuto Barai. So, in the starting of Tomorai Basai, it begins basically the same. Masumidachi, Shokudachi. Except when it loads, the hand and the foot start coming out, sliding forward. Comes out with a knee and the double block. Then it's going to break a full Nelson and continue with the Shuto. Matsumura Basai, very similar. It's going to start Sumidachi, Mitsukudachi, Try it out. Except it's not going to do the knee kick like Tony Basai. It's coming forward. From here it's going to pivot. Now my knee is in my calf. So when I pivot on my heel. Step forward. Basai show. I had always interpreted it as defense against a bow. But it can also be a break to the arm or a trap. Trapping the arm. Using one hand as a fulcrum as we pull down with the other. In Basai Show, it starts very similar. Except it's coming forward, ducking a kick. And then steps around and does the block. So a lot was passed down from Matsumura. Not only the Basai, but also the Rohai. We have Matsumura Rohai also. And the Basai katas, they were all probably at one time incorporated into one long form. Itosu passed them on. Now he broke up the Pinan or Heian katas, so it only stands to reason that the kata from Basai was also broken up. There is evidence that at one time the long version may have been called Chitan. Now, in the Kushanku system, Kusanku, Bosoku, there's another or other versions of that also. So we're going to be getting into the history behind these and touching a little bit on them as you practice Basai Dai to start with. Hopefully you're out there practicing every day. Now before we start any kind of exercise, if you're training seriously and not just walking through your form, we start with a complete warm-up routine. Starts at the head and works our way down through the body, all the way to the feet, warming up all of our major muscle groups. We start with the neck rotation. These are done slow. They're not done quickly. We're rotating the full motion of the neck, and then we reverse. We usually do everything in sets of 7. Then forward and backward. Nice and slow. Left to right. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Then we'll gently loosen the neck and back to yoi. We'll extend our arms and start warming up our shoulders. Doing tight fists at this point. We don't want loose fists out there. Tight fists. Now we're not going to rotate the wrists. We're rotating the arm. And then we're going to reverse them. Now we've tightened those areas up around the shoulder. Now we're going to loosen them with a deep stretch. Forward 7 times and reverse 7 times. We thrust our elbows back. Left over right, right over left, as far back as we can, and then we do up and down. So we're covering all of those motions for the shoulder. We do the wrist. Loosening up the wrist joints. This also helps for those of us that have arthritis. I contribute my karate to one of the reasons that I can still walk today. From there, we go to the hips. This is our core. All of our power comes from our core. It's very important to do the breathing as we do these. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. And we rotate. We always do to the left what we have done to the right. That's why our katas go to the left and to the right. Then we'll stretch to the back. I put my toes out on a 45, hachi-dachi, and I stretch it back. Exhaling as I do this. Then I bring my toes back in, and I go down to the front. The next area will be our knees. Feet together, knees bent, thumbs to the inside, fingertips to the outside. Knee rotations. We're circling the knees around the feet. And reverse. Remember, what we do to the right side, we also do to the left. Forward and backwards. Now when we go back, we don't want to slam our knees back straight. We want to keep the knees slightly bent so we don't hyperextend the knee. Left or right. And then we're going to shake our legs out. And back to our yoy. From here we'll go through the leg stretches. Warming up all of our major muscle groups. Now you're ready for your keyhones. Keyhone. These are our basics. Now, anyone can just go out here and punch, throw a punch, throw a kick. Okay. But to do it properly relates to power, speed, and prevents us from injuring ourselves. The four-fist punch. The four-fist punch loads straight back from the elbow. We're not going to have the four-fist punch loaded down by the hip where this is our weapon. We're not going to have it pointed toward the floor. We're going to have it pointed straight. So the four-fist punch, when it punches, rotates once the fist and once the elbow clears the ribs, it rotates over. We have a pull hand for the reaction force. The four-fist punch. Vertical fist punch. Comes out and punches on a 45 degrees so the wrist is straight. We don't want the wrist bent when we're doing our techniques. We want everything in a straight line. This prevents injury to our body. The body is built to withstand impact on a straight line. It's not meant to take impact on an angle. So all of our techniques are done at an angle. When I do my four-fist punch, I'm punching straight down the center line and slightly downward. The vertical fist punch, very similar. It just goes in center body, slightly inclined, and it's striking the sternum area or the ribs. Harutsuki, close punch. This is somebody very close to you. On this particular punch, as it comes out, we're snapping the hip behind it. Palm heel strike. Now if you have long fingernails, you're worried about them breaking off, you can do your palm heel strike like a shuto with the heel of the palm. Palm heel strike, we're tightening everything up here as we do the strike. Shuto loads, comes out and snaps at the moment of impact. Snaps. Remember the snap behind our technique, no matter if it's a block or a punch, delivers extra force through energy. The Japanese call it ki, the Chinese call it chi. This is where the snap is coming in, giving us that extra bit of energy. I like to use the analogy that you're taking a towel and you can hit someone with it all day long and have little effect. But you take that towel and you pop the very end of it, that is where you're getting that kinetic energy from. We want that same thing to come through our karate technique. This is where we get our power from. It generates from our core. The hammer fist strike, Kitsui, strikes down onto the collarbone to strike the dead. But the most vulnerable there is the collarbone area, the clavicle, the shoulders. The blocks, Inamurai, our low block, comes straight down. We're not going to take the elbow out as we do this. Keep the elbow in place, let the hand come down and snap over. We don't need for it to go beyond the body line. We stop with our body line. The middle block comes from underneath the same motion. The high block, center line. We're protecting our vital organs on the center line, up and away. The side of the fist is equal to the side of the head. There's one fist between the bicep and the cheek. The shuto, 2 hands, one is for blocking, one is for striking. Now those of you that do your shuto with both hands, this is fine. You're moving out and you're just deflecting your opponent. And the style that I teach in particular, strikes with one hand, strikes with the second hand, regardless of which direction you're going. We're always moving off to our angles. Now today we talked about the basai katas. All of the basai katas have the same emphasis, same pattern. So when you practice them or you watch them through videos, try to pick up on those little things. For today,
today we'll be teaching the kata Matsumura Basai. It is the third Basai kata that we teach after Basai Sho and Basai Dai. Sometimes fourth, depending on whether you learn it before Tomari Basai as well. It's the longest of the Basai katas, so learning each of the Basai katas kind of leads up to this kata. There's a lot of similarities to it between Tomari Basai and Matsumura Basai, but I think you'll enjoy this kata a lot, and it's a great kata for competition. Let's get started. Matsumura Basai. Okay, ready? Feet together, load, do it. Dropping into a deep stance, slide the foot out with no weight. As you step, knee, double reinforced block. Stepping 1, 2, 3. Block. 4. High block. 1. Block. Turning. High block. Punch block. Stepping out. Horse stand. High block each. 1, 2, 3. Spear. Hold. Punch. Back fist. Punch. Back fist. Open hand, shoot them. Open hand, shoot them. Open hand, shoot them. Step back. Ikiteki. Wrist hooking. Sweep away. Side stop kick. step, 2, step. 5, 4, punch. Turn, break. As you step, low block. Loading, lift, hold. Middle, outside block. Punch, punch, block, double punch. Load, double punch. Load, double punch. Back fist, punch, back fist. Reach. Touch your knee. And go. Okay. One time from the rear. Together. Hold. Yeah. Drop. Slide. Knee, outside block. As you pull, step each knee, turn each knee, each step 1, 2, 1, 2, each knee, each knee. About each knee, step back, each, hook, each, turning, each, turning, sun, step 2, each, press, hold 8. Grab, load, lift, pull, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, load, 2, load, 3, turn, 1, 2, each, Okay, one time with the correct tempo, like count, so you can know how fast you need to move. Half speed. See it? See? It's 2, 3, 1. Okay. If you have any questions about the kata, make sure the easiest way is to just join Discord and ask, or submit a video with a specific move that you're have a hard time with, or catch us on the next lesson with the National Karate Kobudo Facebook page. We have a group that you can join, post your videos on the wall, and we'll respond with other videos too. One time fast.